So good afternoon, everyone. This is Roshni Sehgal with Media Entertainment Skills Council, and I am welcoming you all to the exclusive webinar by Media Entertainment Skills Council on graphic design trends. And this session is going to be conducted by Mr. Aditya Kashyap, who is an academic head at Himalayan Institute of Digital Arts. So I'll tell you a little background about Aditya ji. So he's an academic head at Himalayan Institute of Digital Art, where he plays a pivotal role in shaping the educational landscape. With a rich background in animation and design, he brings a wealth of expertise to his role. So previously, Aditya served as a lead animator and designer in various designing firms, designing studios and production houses. His dedication towards craft combined with this educational leadership, and it continued to inspire and guide aspiring artists. And of course, various other designers who might be willing to pursue their career in graphic designing and creative excellence. So, Aditya, we welcome you to Vidyadaan. Aditya, you
Hello,
there?
hello,
Yeah.
hello. Hi.
So, Aditya, we are really excited for this session, and I'm sure candidates are going to learn a lot from you. And now, over to you, and maybe we'll uh, discuss after this session about maybe we'll hear from candidates if there will be any question. We'll keep telling you time to time.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Mm, I can't share my screen. Can you just allow me the access for it? Um, I can't share my screen. I'll need the access to.
Can you check again? We have given you the rights.
Oh yeah, sure. I found it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is my screen visible? Are you guys able to see my screen? Hello.
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Oh, okay. Then let's start this session. Um, Today we'll be discussing about graphic design and how are there, like how many trends are there that we see in social media or we see on YouTube, or we can say that हम जो ये trends है ये हम आजकल वेब पे बहुत ज़्यादा देखते हैं, apps में हम बहुत ज़्यादा trends देखते हैं. तो हम will step by step I'll discuss some trends, and I'll also explain their usage in different areas in this media and infotainment world. Okay, so let's start. Like I said, I am an faculty head at HIDA. So our organization or our institute, we teach motion design, 2D and 3D animation, and graphic and visual design also. And for more information, you can refer to our website also. So after this, let's start this session. As I said, like as the ma'am also introduced myself, like I was a 2D animator lead in a animation studio, and I also served as a design lead at some other studio. And so these are some graphics that I created for them, and some other graphics that I'll also be showing in the next slides also. Some of them were created by me, and some of the graphics that I took are from the internet that I felt very inspired by, and when I'm doing my project. I feel very inspired with those graphics. Okay. So first of all, like what is graphic design? So graphic design is an art of creating visual content. Okay. We create this content with the help of images, with the help of colors, with the help of typography. And all of this depends on what type of content you would like to, like what, for what client are we creating this content. It all depends on that. Okay, so like we see here are some posters. Every poster has a different information displayed on it, so it's serving a different purpose. Like in the first post we can see it's like a design post for like a fashion brand, or someone like for opening a calendar. And the second design we see, it's an abstract design. It can be for web, and it can also be for like I can say a magazine cover. And the third design that we see is a movie poster or a song poster that you can see. So we see these graphic designs every day in our day-to-day lives, and most of the times these are graphic designs are very catchy, very attention grabbing, so that's why we are drawn to them. So the whole purpose of creating a graphic design is to create an engaging form of information that we see every day. So let's see, or in simpler words, like I can say, graphic design is making things look cool and telling stories with colors, pictures, and words. It's like being a computer artist who creates design for different reasons. Okay. So after that out of the way, let's explore some of the more graphic design trends that we are about to discuss. The first one, as you can see, is called minimalism. Minimalism is basically a design philosophy where we follow the principle less is more. We only, when we are designing a poster, we only show the things that are relatively important to the consumer, and we discard anything else that is not important. So minimalistic graphic design is a style that keeps simple and clean. It's like less is more design philosophy. In this style, you only use essential like basic shapes, limited colors, shape, and simple lines. There is no extra stuff, just the most important elements to get the message across. Okay. These are some of the examples for a minimalistic graphic design poster. The first one, as you can see, is written at Copenhagen. It's for a music festival that we created this design. So you can see like most of the design is empty. There is a lot of empty space. And the only part that is filling the screen is the photograph of the place Copenhagen, where will be the design festival will be held, and the only the name. And you can also notice that the name, the font in which the name is written, it's like a very thin font and very spacious font. So it gives a vibe of being very open, very clean, very subtle, and a sense of calm. You can see it projects a sense of calm in this poster. The second poster you can see is called a near. It's like a infographic, we can say, where the words represent its meaning through graphics. Like you can see the R, it's like if we make a perspective grid, it's really like closer to us in the perspective, and N is far away. And it also like depicts points us towards the word that it's near. And the second, we say it's a film festival poster. In this design, it's not I can say like it's not totally minimalistic, because we see a photograph. That photograph is very busy, like if you can see, there are a lot of colors, but the doors are creating a frame for a text that the text can be placed in. So we can consider the text as a subject and the background as negative space. So that's why it also creates a like a roomy or an airy feel to it. And the word edge that you can see on your screens is also the same philosophy as the near. Like you design a word in that way, in a way that it describes itself in design. Like you can see the D is forming a like edge between E and D and G and E, as you can see. These are also some other graphic designs, like the R that you can see. It's written in the another language, but if I have to guess, so this would be a like a type typographic poster for a calendar, you can say, or maybe for a book, you can say, or maybe for an event, because it's in another language, so I can't comprehend it. And the other one that you can see is 68. You can see how the circle are used to make a number, but the circle in 6 and 8, they are sharing a common space in it. So it's also creating a very interesting visual form, so that grabs our attention. Okay. Second one I would like to discuss is bold typography. Typography is also like, you can say it is also a very important design element that we use it in every graphic design that we see. Bold typography is not a, I would say, like, not necessarily a trend, but these days the type of designs that we are seeing are using very like bold dominant font styles. So that's why I have included a bold typography in it. Bold typography is like using big attention grabbing letters in design. It's when the design words in design are made to stand out and make a strong statement. These letters are thicker and more prominent than the other regular ones. Like, I have some examples, like the public theater. This poster was created by a legendary graphic designer called named Paula Scher. She has done like her vast majority of the work is in the field of typography. Her graphic design style is in the way of a typography, how she experiments with them. You can also search for her if you find it useful. Second one, bold typography with high contrast backgrounds grabs attention. As you can see, the public theater is informative text, but it is also like acting as a visual interest in this poster. There is nothing else in this poster. And here you can also see minimalism at play. Like, bold typography is also being used, but minimal design philosophy is also being followed here in the public theater poster. Second one is just do it. It emphasizes a key message and calls for our action for a better engagement. The just do it is a tagline for a Nike brand. So wherever you see a Nike poster or anything related to Nike, they try to include the catchphrase "just do it" into it. So as you can see, "just do it" is a prominent figure in this poster, and the photographs that is used in such an interesting way that it creates a connection between the words and also between the photograph. And the small Nike symbol at the bottom emphasizes that it's for a brand called Nike. Otherwise, also, like, the "just do it" is a very popular catchphrase used by Nike brand. The third post example that we are seeing, varying text size and weight creates a clear hierarchy in design. So hierarchy is the order in which we see things on a poster. So generally, the more bigger the thing, the more attention it grabs. So as you can see, like, jump up, get down, it's the poster is written. So notice the U and notice the jump word, how they have incorporated the P. It's extended for a reason. So it is differentiating from jump and down, the word jump and the down. If both are the same, then it creates a visual confusion, like, what should I look first, what should I look second? Because up is grabbing a lot of attention, and it is also at the center of the poster. It is also creating a symmetrical design choice, so it grabs attention that way. So it is bold typography is also used for like creating hierarchy in design, what we'll see first and what after that and what's after that. It's like shouting with words but in a visual way. So as I explained earlier, it's the same thing. The third design that we are talking about is maximalism. So we discussed minimalism in the previous slides. So maximalism is just the opposite of minimalism. In minimalism, we used to take objects or the shapes, text, colors that are very important for the design, like, or very important for the message. So we used to take only those things, but in maximalism, what we do, we overload the poster with information, and we only keep the thing that we want to have attention. That's the only thing that is kept stale or without any like accents or without any special features to it. So like, and the left poster that you see here, in which there's a Roman sculpture in between, uh, everything around it, it's very chaotic, it's very energetic, as you can see, and most of the things demand attention to it. But since everything is demanding attention to it, it creates a position where the things that is the least unique, I would say, like the statue in the middle, that's the most unique thing in this poster. Otherwise, everything is very contrasting, like the blue color you see and the photographs and the patterns that are used here. So they demand attention, but ultimately our attention goes towards the center. Why? Because everything is so chaotic, so the thing that is the most simple and the most calm grabs attention. It creates a contrast, so that's why our attention goes towards the center. It's like a vibrant, wild, and a busy visual party, like as you can see here. These designs, it's all about access, abundance, and colors and shapes and details. Okay. It creates a vibrant, lively, and a chaotic visual experience using many pattern textures and elements. As you can see, like there are many patterns here. Like if I look at the poster on the left or the right or the poster in the center, like it's overloaded with information, but still it has a visual appeal. It has a certain balance to it. In the first part, as you can see, the visual balance is attained through symmetry. Like as you can see, every element, the text element that is arranged, it is arranged in the form of a border. It creates a border around the poster, so that's why it creates a balanced poster despite being it so chaotic. Like the colors we see, there are many vibrant colors used in this that demand attention, but still our attention goes towards the center because the outside of the text creates a border, and it is also a visual representation of the information that you are about to portray. And on the center poster, if I talk about it even more, so you see like everything is depicted in the form of illustrations, but only the text is from in the center, like it's cohesive. Cohesive, the text in the center, it it is only grabbing attention because everything is pictures, just pictures, and no context to it. The context is provided by the text that is written in the center to it. So that's why the color harmony also, there is also a current color harmony present in this poster. That's why it looks very visually aesthetic and visually appealing. On the right hand side, the last poster that you see here, it has taken a direction towards like the manga panels that we see in the comic books and all. So if you ever read a comic, you have noticed that the manga panels are designed in such a way that it creates a way of reading towards it. Like you will read from left to right, then you again jump back to left and then to the right, like the bottom panels to it. So it is designed in keeping that design philosophy in mind. So if you see, there are different elements conveying different things here, and also the text at the bottom is written in such a bizarre manner that it creates a visual interest. It's very like harder to read, but it still demands attention, so we can still read it if we look close enough. The next design trend that I would like to discuss, it's also like not a design trend but a design element, and the design element is vibrant colors. So colors play a very important part in graphic design. It is one of the fundamentals that we study in graphic design is colors. Colors colors affect us psychologically because as you can see, like different things that are designed around us, they use color in such a way so it helps us to understand the brand better. For example, like if you see any fast food brand, you would see the presence of color yellow, red, and purple. As you can purple also, you will also see some color of purple. These colors like psychologically builds hunger inside us. So that's why it is a strategic choice to use these colors in our brand design logo for a fast food brand. On the other hand, like the same way, if you see any corporate logos that you see designed around you, most of the time you will find a blue color used a lot, because blue color is also depicts a sense of stability, a sense of structure, a sense of security. It portrays a sense of security. So this that's why colors are very important to it. But these days when we see like the basic we see the modern graphic designs that are made, most of them are using vibrant colors in it. That's why I felt it important to discuss colors also in this slide. Next is like the posters that we see here are very vibrant, very contrasting colors are used to create a general visual interest in the poster. And the color theory is a set of principles that helps us to understand and use color effectively in design. It is basically based on the psychology that a color gives to a person. Like if I see a color, it generates some sort of feeling inside me. And the most common example, if I would tell you, is have you seen, if you've seen any romantic movies, they use mostly the color red. Every time there's a romantic scene, you would see pink, red, because those invoke the emotion in us for a very warm, soothing feeling. So that's why red and pinks are used in the colors. So like the different posters you see here, they have used color in very contrasting and in a very different way. Like the first you see the poster that is written, if it's like people, something is written into this poster, like it's not very legible because of the size, but otherwise it's creating a very interesting visual appeal to it. The second one, resonance. You can see like different colors are used in a particular symmetry or a particular layout that helps us to create that sense of security and that sense of structure and order to it, despite being it's so chaotic. Next, we would like to discuss is abstract illustration. So you might also have noticed like abstract illustration in the previous posters also. So like I said, that these graphic designs are like it's like an umbrella of categories. And like the design that we are showing is not necessarily that this would be considered an abstract illustration, but it could also be considered as minimalism or maximalism. And the bold typography you have seen, like the in previous poster also, typography was used in a very interesting ways, and we are also about to see in these type of posters. But abstract illustration is basically like we use organic shapes such as curves and irregular forms to create sense of movement and fluidity in a particular design. These are not necessarily a geometric designs, like they have a some sense of movement towards it, but the movement is not defined by like a it's not exact to the its native form. We change it in a way so it looks like, appears like something that we are about to do. Like in the second poster, you will see like aqua deities. The above the spirals that are made above her feet, they look like water, but they are not actually water, but they represent water in it. It's like someone diving into the water, or someone diving into their thoughts. So it is designed in such a way that it creates, appears, looks like something, but it's actually nothing. Like if you see, these are the shapes that are arranged in circles, so it creates an illusion of water. And on the other hand, like if you see at the bottom left, so these are just shapes that are used on the colors, but if you look closely, they like represent some form of characters. The bigger circles in it are can be called as eyes, and the shapes that are made like the with the colors, with the pink, with the blue, they can be like seen as characters in this, like different type of quirky characters that are just punched in together in a very small space. It does look like that. So vibrant and bold colors are commonly used in abstract illustrations to create a sense of energy and excitement. So in the left design, it might be difficult to see for you at first, but as you can see, like it creates a pattern through left to right and diagonally. Like if you just notice, so like the shapes, the colors are similar towards diagonally, and the shapes are similar when we go down. So it's creating a flow from left to right and also diagonally. So it's very difficult to see because it's an abstract shape, so in which through which we are communicating our design. So and the on the right side of things, like abstract illustration often incorporate in organic shapes such as curves and irregular form to create sense of movement and fluidity. So you see that there is also a flow to it. This is a graphic of a building. You can see like this represents some kind of a hall, and the organic shapes that we are using are like the squares that are letting the light in. So it is creating a flow towards it. It's like it looks like this. And it is also guiding our eyes that we look to posters like this, and then we'll go down and then we'll go up to complete the whole poster. So this is also creating a very visual aesthetic towards design. Next, I would like to discuss is sustainable design. Sustainable design is not actually like not necessarily a trend, but a design philosophy that that most of designers are now adopting, and most of the companies are also adopting. Since we are seeing like there's a lot of change with time with global warming, and we are seeing like a lot of erratic climate changes. There are like flash floods everywhere, and glaciers are melting at a very alarmist rate. So it is our duty as citizens of Earth to make Earth a better place. So sustainable design is a step in that direction. So it usually revolves around the trend that if you are a product designer, you design a product that is ecologically friendly towards the our Earth. And you can see like the trend aligns with the growing global awareness of environmental issues, sustainability, and social responsibility. Sustainable design involves creating visuals and materials with minimal ecological footprint and focuses on ethical practices. So it describes on that. It is based on that. So you design a product. It should be the carbon footprint of the product is also, we should keep it in mind, and design things that are like sustainable for our future also. And this can also be interpreted as like if you are designing something for the screens, so you use colors that are very close to our earth, like the greens, the brown, and the blue. Like if you see the second design here, like so it's a design for I would say a music festival, but look at the colors used in this design. It gives a earthly, warm feeling towards it. And it the just on a looking at one glance, we can like deduce like this is a eco-friendly product. Why? Because the colors used in it are in an eco-friendly way. Next, these are some of the popular design trends that we see right now. But studying them can also provide us insight into areas that may have been gaining relevance in graphic design. So next, we'll like also discuss some areas that are now emerging to be new trends in the changing in the coming years, and we'll see these designs more often in these years. Okay, so the first is 3D design. So as the access of 3D softwares and the advancement of technology is increasing, we would see more of 3D designs in our hands. Like if I give you an example, like 3D software used to be very expensive to buy. The licensing was very uh, different to acquire if you are just starting out, or if you are just learning to be a 3D model artist or whatever you want. But these days, software called Blender, it's free, and it's very much capable of achieving the results that are achieved by the 3D Maya, 3DX Maya, or 3DX Max. So the accessibility of 3D softwares has increased the availability of 3D elements in design, as you can see. And the advancement of AR and VR will only promote it further in the coming future. Second is handmade graphics. Uh, when the graphic design field came into being and people started moving towards digital designs, digital painting and all that, everyone thought like the handmade painting would die out soon, because digitally we can acquire achieve much more bigger things, much more practical things. When we produce a design digitally, it's easy to replicate, it is easy to send, it is easy to share everything and all that. But recently, handmade graphic designs, paintings, handmade posters, handmade illustrations, they have came into the limelight recently because they provide a personal touch for a graphic design. Like it's very as you can for an example, like I'll explain. uh, if you go to a exhibition and you see a painting, when you stand in front of the painting, the first thing you'll notice is the texture of the canvas. Then you'll notice the colors that are used. Colors are very visually appealing, so it will draw you into it. And when since you are standing like in front of a painting, you can also smell the the you can also smell the paint that in through which it is made. So it creates an ambience, it creates an experience for you when you visit when you see a graphic design. It creates like a immersive experience to it. So it is missing in the like the graphics that you see on screens, because you can't smell it, you can't touch it, you can't feel the texture that the graphic is trying to portray. We to emulate this type of effect, we use textures in our graphic design to just to emulate a sense of roughness, or you can say a sense of immersiveness for a graphic to and the third one that I would like to discuss is infographics, visual data. As you can see, like AI is on the rise, and the prime requirement for AI is data. That it needs data to process, and then it can produce good results. And these days, we are also seeing a very like a sharp increase in the demand of data scientists, and so graphics will play a very pivotal role, because looking at numbers is very boring. So how can we make graphical representations of numbers that we see on a sheet? And like the third example, so if you can see, like it's the third example that we see here, it's like a composition of a coffee. Like what are the things that we can include in a coffee? What are the things, what is the percentage of beans that are go into it? What is the percentage of water that go into it? So we can represent our data in such a manner that it is very palatable to understand, like a common person can also be understand, and we are not intimidated by the numbers that we see on the screen. Next, we have is retro-futuristic designs. So this design is mainly belongs to the time in the early 2000s. Since when we were like transitioning towards our like the new age era or the modern era in the early 2000s, everyone was very optimistic about the future. We had like very big plans of flying cars, and I don't like many different things that we had in mind. Like we would be able to communicate better, transport would be faster, and all that. So there was a sense of optimism in the environment, optimism in the culture. So these designs represent that. Like the text you see is the text spectra, theory of colors, that the text you are about to see here. So it looks very futuristic, but the design, the graphics that are used are those look very vintage, very old school. So it creates a very interesting visual aesthetic, if I might say. So the retrofuturistic design might come into the next trend. The second one is vintage aesthetics. These vintage aesthetics are being used in movie posters that are being made. If you see any Hollywood movie, I'm sure you would find some posters related to the drama or some art films that are created in with the vintage aesthetic towards its mind. And the third one is asymmetrical layouts. So symmetry plays a very important part when we design in graphics. Composition plays a very important part. So because we are so much immersed in symmetry and composition, sometimes things could look similar because of the composition is similar. So breaking those rules in a balanced and a very well planned way can help us to create some really good aesthetics, as you can see in the third poster, like Din in New York. It could also have written been straight, but it won't be that visually appealing than it is right now. So that was for all for today. But before we move on to question and answers, I would like to summarize what we did today. First is that design is dynamic in nature. It is ever changing. It has been changing, and it will change in future. So we have to learn and grow with it. If we are stuck on a particular design trend or a particular design style, it won't end well for us, because times will change, people will change, and we'll have to adapt towards that. Second is balance and versatility. We've seen so many trends that we showed earlier. Everyone had very good visual interest. They created some visual appeal, they were very attractive, but all of them had different principles, different philosophies behind it, but still they were balanced. Like if I see a maximalism kind of design, so it's not as simple as like arranging things in a very chaotic manner. There is some sense to that chaos. So we'll also have to keep that in mind. There is a balance and there is also versatility. Third, sustainability matters. This point I was saying, the sustainable designs will be the future, because the things that we are going to design from now on would create a very much a sense of being sustainable and portraying a sense of like eco-friendly nature to forward when we design something. And the third and the fourth, we can see adapt to and innovate. It's basically the same. Like we also have to study, learn, and create new things and adapt with the changing times to keep in to keep everything ready. So that was the end of today's session. If anyone would like to ask any questions, I would be happy to answer that.
So, all right, Aditya, we have received few questions from few candidates on YouTube, as well as we could see in our WhatsApp group. So
Okay.
I'll read few question and maybe share few more later on.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So first question is, what are some common mistakes students make while trying to implement current design trends, and how can they avoid these pitfalls?
Okay. Um, so I would say like the things that I've noticed very much with my students here also, like I would give them a reference for a particular design, and they would go home and copy that reference exactly as it is. They won't be able to like they won't make an effort to understand why is the element making much more sense here and not there. Second that I most commonly see is like I'll give them three references, and they'll just take text from one photograph, take from text from one graphic design, take colors from other, and some composition elements from the different design. but they don't understand like the text that is used in that design only works in that design. It won't translate well into other design, because when we design something, we design it with a concept in mind, with a particular goal in mind. Like if I'm designing something for a car brand, I won't use colors like flat colors, like neutral colors like beige or like pink and or like yellow colors, because mostly you see cars around you, they are naturally in like a monotone or a grayscale kind of color palette they follow. Okay, so if I take that color scale for a car design, pink yellow color scale for the car design, that it won't make any sense in my design, because that isn't serving the purpose. My car doesn't look very cool to it, because if I want to sell my car, it should look cool. It should look cool in the poster. It should look badass for a person, and it also depends on the demographic that you're being designed for. Like in my first example, like if I design a car that has a pink, yellow, reddish tone to it, so it is very suitable for a female target audience, because the colors are very soothing, very enriching, very joyful. But if you want to design a car for a man, like not necessarily a man, but generally a male audience, so the colors would be more towards the grayish side, bluish sides, and we can also include white. So it depends on what you are trying to make. It all depends on that. So mostly the people think like they see a popular design and they just try to copy it. They don't understand why the color are being used in it, why the typography of this kind is being used in it. So that is the main thing that I feel like this is the major pitfall. And to avoid that, you can do some more research in what you are trying to make and how can you achieve those goals. You should focus on that rather than just copying a particular design.
Thank you, Aditya. And the second question is, in your experience, what are the essential skills or tools that every aspiring graphic designer should master to excel in their ever-evolving field of graphic designing, or maybe we can say with the trends?
Okay. So this might be like a hot take, but I would say the only tool you have to master is your ideas that come to your mind. Okay, because the software that we see are Photoshop, Illustrator, or any other software that you use, it is basically a tool. It won't help. It will help you to create beautiful visual aesthetics, but at the end of the day, what you are going to design is coming from your mind only. So training your mind by doing much more thorough research, understanding understanding your topic to a much more deeper level. Okay, if you're designing something, like don't just think that the design description that they have provided you. Go one step further and study the design for yourself. Also study about the company for yourself, and study about their competitors for yourself. It will help you to create better visual designs. And the thing about tools, you can learn any tool. You can learn Photoshop, you can learn Illustrator by just watching YouTube and at any free other software, because that is just a tool. If I would say, like, if I give you a pencil, okay, and I give you a math problem to solve, you can solve that math problem with that pencil, but all you will need your mental capacity to be a mathematician to solve that problem, right? But I give a pencil for a painter and I tell, okay, you paint something with this, and I give a pencil to a mathematician, you paint something with this. So the thing that the painter will draw and the thing a mathematician would draw would change drastically, because the application of that software changes, right? The application of the tool changes at the hand of the person you are giving it to. So it's very important, if you are a graphic designer, study common trends, study make a reference sheet that you refer to every day before any design. uh, Study about different types of artists that inspire you. How are they creating? What is their process? It will help you to excel forward and uh, sharpen your tool that is called your brain. So that's the first thing that I would say.
All right. And the third question is, as a designer, how do you balance the need to stay on trend with importance of creating unique and original designs?
Okay, so uniqueness and originality will develop with time. At first when you're starting, mostly when we all start, we get inspired from another design and we try to copy that design. It happens with all of us. But as we design more and more, we realize that the design that we are copying, it some things might not work in it, and I feel like, oh, I like this part of this design, but I don't like this part. How can I improve on it? If I see a design and if I see, oh, if I would design this, how would I design this? So by doing some of this mental exercise, this mental thought process, you can like when you design more, you will find your eventually find your like style of design. Like for example, like I would say like recently that I've been when I'm designing, first I used to use very like decorative typography. Like I used to use very decorative fonts to in my graphic design. So they would create a very good visual interest. But now when I look at them, I found it very cheesy. Why? Because at that point of time, my goal was not to make something like very long lasting. It should serve at that point of time. If I see my design at that point of time, it makes sense, because the type of typography I'm using, I'm seeing that type of typography everywhere in my social media, or at my client's office, or I can see it anywhere on a billboard. So I'm using that kind of typography, but that won't serve well. And now when I design something these days, I'm looking for such minimalistic kind of typography that is very easy to read and has some visual weight, like bold typography that I already discussed. I'm using those type of fonts these days. So it's like I have also grown with time, with experience. So these things change. So you can't just stick on one trend. Okay, this is my style, because your style will also change. It will also evolve. The more you design, the more better you'll get at it. It's just simple as that.
Aditya, we have one more question from Neha, and she's asking specifically that are there any specific color palettes that needs to be kept in mind as per the ongoing design trends?
Okay, so colors are usually chosen in the context in what you are making. Like I also discussed earlier, like the color palette is always discussed in that sense of way. Okay, what are you going to create and how would colors interact with it? Like what this color creates, what kind of emotion this color invoke in you. So it will always depend on that, and how you can create some visual interest with those colors. How can you like make other colors? So there is not like a definite color pattern that you should follow, but you can see like these days, if you want to follow, like there are neutral tones are very in trend these days. If you see like you open any app like Instagram or uh, WhatsApp, you see the shade of the green color. It's more towards the vibrant side of things. And if there are darker tones, they also includes like the darker tones are also like towards the values of darker tones are more towards the lighter side of things. It's like look too dark, like it's not jet black, it's not jet white, it's somewhere in the shade of grays.
Mhm.
So that I would say like neutral tones, I would say. And I would say, what can you say, uh not neutral tones, but yeah, contrasting colors. You can take two contrasting colors and work with them. Like open your color wheel and just choose one color and choose the next color opposite of that color wheel. So one color that you decide, like if I'm designing for McDonald's something, okay, so the primary color for McDonald's is yellow, but the second color that they are using is red. So red and yellow come opposite in the color wheel, relatively opposite on the color wheel. That's why it creates a very visually appealing aesthetic. So use the color wheel in such a way. Study about color theory a little bit, and you'll get your answer. Like it's not that difficult to do that. To do that.
All right, Aditya, we have received few more questions, but I guess time is too short, so we will share with you over the mail, and maybe if
Okay.
we receive answers from you, we would be putting it on Instagram story so that everybody will be able to, you know, see through it. So before wrapping up this session on graphic design trends, we want to give a big shout out to Aditya. So thank you, Aditya, for being such an amazing guru. And for all the audience out there, please remember that learning doesn't stop here. So keep watching Vidyadaan session, and you can just follow our social media channels for more upcoming sessions. And I wish you great weekend. Bye bye. Take care. And don't forget to follow MESC _India social media channels. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Should I leave the meeting?
Yes. Yeah.